everybody, welcome back to Brelsford Family Homestead, my van. I'm Darcy. I'm getting ready to run some errands. I'm done with homeschool for the day. It's snowing a little bit. It's really loud outside because you can probably see the cars going by in the background, but I wanted to bring you with me. I was going to go to Tractor Supply, but I remembered that I have a free delivery, so I'm just going to have them deliver those things and save myself that step. I always forget to use that. But I'm also going to go to the feed store in a neighboring town to get some chicken feed, and then I'll go to the orchard. This is their last week that they're open. There's not U-Pick or anything, but they have a huge market with all kinds of apples, and I love to go there and get their seconds. Their Evercrisp was my favorite last year, so I'm going to try and pick some of that up. And they have the best cider I've ever had. It's Honeycrisp cider. So I'm going to get some, probably freeze some, and bring you along. It'll be a beautiful drive as the orchard is surrounded by Amish farms. So let's get going. We're here, Family Farm and Home. This is where we buy our chicken feed and our meat bird turkey feed when we have those. So I'm going to run in here and get some feed to last us for the next month or so for our layers. I got in and out of there super fast. So on to the next thing. That ended up being a quick and easy trip. I walked in the door and they know who I am, and they already had the feed waiting for me because I had called to make sure that they had it in stock. So all I did was paid. They even loaded it up into my van for me. So we've always just been really happy. We've been dealing with Family Farm and Home for a couple of years now, and we buy Kalmbach feed for all of our chickens. So now onto the orchard for that delicious apple cider. Let's go. As you can see, it's just beautiful here. Thought I'd show you what I got real quick. Oh, these look so good. These are their Evercrisp. I got 2 bushels of their seconds, and I got 2 gallons of their apple cider. They didn't have any other Honeycrisp apple cider, but I'm sure this will be good too. It's 5 o'clock, and boy, the snow is just coming down. But it's a little wet. Well, that escalated quickly. 5 minutes ago, there was like no snow. Hey everybody, we've got the kitchen all set up, and the girls and I are going to work on some of these apples that we picked up at the orchard. I've got a crock pot for some apple butter. I have a roaster for cooking down some of the apples to put it through the food mill and make applesauce. Some of these are washed already. I've got some more in the sink. I've got a whole lot more in the fridge, and we'll cut some up. So bring you along to kind of see how we do this. I will can some of this, but I don't know if I'm going to include all that in this video or not. We'll see. I will link some of the recipes that I have used. I will just be canning plain applesauce, no added sugar or anything. That's on the National Center for Home Canning and Preserving website, I believe. So I'll link that below. I'm gonna grab my girls and we're gonna get started. Ignore those dirty dishes in the sink. She's just gonna rinse these apples off there in water with vinegar just to clean them off. We are gonna be removing the peels for the apple butter, but they will be cooked down some in a roaster before going through a food mill for the applesauce, so I just wanna make sure that they're clean. She's gonna use our handy dandy apple machine and put them in the crock pot, and this is what we're going to use to make apple butter. So these apples are a little bit big, so we'll have to see if these work real well in this or not. Like a boss. All right, I'll just have to get the compost bucket for her. Sometimes I make apple scrap vinegar. I don't think I'm gonna bother with that for this batch. Somebody was sneaking pieces. These apples are so good. Both kids were asking to not process all of them so that they can eat them. And you take it off, pull it apart so they can see how it's like a spiral. Yep. All right. I'll probably do some like that too, and then cut them like into little triangles to freeze for apple crisps and things throughout the year. Sorry, this lighting isn't so great on this side. I don't usually film on this side. I'm just gonna take some of these and half or quarter them to put them in the roaster. So they get soft, and then we can put them through the food mill. You can go through the work of peeling, coring them and everything before you cook them down. Oh. Okay. Wow, you okay there? Fell off the stand. Okay, so let me point you back down here. You can go through the work of coring them, peeling them before putting them in a roaster or a pot of water to soften them. But if you have a good food mill, there really is not a point to doing that. It's just doing a whole lot more work, because the food mill is going to remove the seeds, it's going to remove the core, it's going to remove the skin. So I'm just quartering these, and I'm going to put them in my big roaster and give them a stir every once in a while. And once they're soft, we'll put them through the food mill. I've got a good amount of apples in here, plus I have some water in the bottom. I'm going to plug this in and let it cook. I don't want to fill it all the way because I need some space to stir it, so they can all get soft. Now we're going to keep using the apple machine to peel, core, and slice some, and I am going to set aside some for apple crisp. All right, this crock pot I think is full enough of apples. We'll need to stir it at some point. There is a little bit of fresh apple cider in it. I got some spices to put in there. Go ahead. And I'm going to put the lid on, plug it in, and it is going to smell amazing in here. We're gonna keep putting some apples through the apple machine so I can vacuum seal it in 5-cup portions. I use the Better Homes and Gardens fruit crisp recipe. I always have, except for I double the topping because, you know, more topping is delicious. I will say for the apple butter, if you have ever made it, it always needs to cook longer than most people think and most recipes say. You'd really need to go by how it comes off the spoon instead of a time. Anything that says, you know, cook it down for 20 minutes and it's done does not know anything about apple butter. No way. It's gonna be terrible. So anyway, just a little tip from someone from Ohio who knows a little thing about apple butter. These are the size that I freeze. My husband does like apple pie. I usually leave the pie making to my mother, and he would choose apple crisp over apple pie though. His birthday is gonna be next week, so maybe I'll make one of these then, or for Thanksgiving. They're so close together. I've got my vacuum seal bags here. These are linked below. They're my favorite. And I've got, whoop, I dropped that one, so I'm gonna grab another one. Here. Now you can treat your apples for browning if you want to. I never do because it's just an extra step that is really not needed. I don't mind if the apples are brown. I mean, when I'm making apple butter or applesauce, if it darkens, the apple butter is going to get dark anyway. For crisps, it's really just a cosmetic thing, so I don't bother with that step. I'm going to fill these bags, and once I get them all done, I will vacuum seal them. All ready for the freezer. All right, my other daughter is ready to start the squeeze-o. I have a roaster full, plus I did 2 pots. That one is the one she's gonna do right now because as you can see, they're still steaming. You use the squeeze-o and it kind of sprays, so I don't want her to burn herself, so. But I will show you how it's done, or she will, with that silver pot over here. It's gonna be so good. Once the bowl here gets about full, I'm gonna dump it back into the roaster and to bring it to a boil so I can put it in the jars and can it. All the apples have been put through the squeeze-o, or at least all the ones we're gonna do tonight, and the apple butter's still simmering away. Let me show you that apple butter. I wish you had smell-o-vision. It's just bubbling away and smelling so good. The apples are getting really soft. They won't really need to be blended, but I will blend them with the stick blender before it's all said and done. But it smells so good. So we have, this is a 22-quart roaster with the applesauce. I'm gonna start getting it jarred up. All right, I've got a hot jar here. Got my hot, ooh, it's hot if you touch it too. I'm gonna fill it to a 1/2 inch head space with hot applesauce. hot sauce, hot jar. That is definitely a little much, so I'm going to scoop some of that out even before I take that funnel off. Okay, it's probably still a little bit much, but I'm going to use this to debubble because I used this in the first jar I did, and it just makes it a mess, and I need it to measure. So you can use, you know, a skewer or something like that too. This just happened to be the first thing I grabbed. Half an inch headspace, cloth dampened with some vinegar, clean that rim really well, lid, ring, fingertip tight, and into the canner. I have 6 quarts in the canner. I decided to leave these out for eating for my family because I know they'll want some right away, so I'm not going to can it. So I'm going to put 1 jar of water in there. I've been wanting to start doing this, so I'm going to can water. In the future, I'll probably use my reusable Tatler lids, but I already have this, and you have to boil those lids for a bit. But it makes the water sanitary, and it'll have a long shelf life. So instead of me buying gallons of water or bottles of water to have just in case water goes out or something, I can can it. And I have enough jars to do this. I don't have a shortage of those right now. And so anytime my canner is not full, I'm going to do that. And I may even do some canners full of water by itself. So it's a half an inch of headspace, boiling water, and it has to process for 10 minutes, but it's going to be in with my applesauce, so it will process for 20 minutes. No problem. You always go with the higher number of whatever you're canning. So I'm going to get my water that just got off boil and put it in here. And this was a hot jar too. You got to be very careful about that and make sure that you're always using hot liquids with a hot jar to prevent thermal shock. It's a little harder to see where the water is because since it's clear. All right, that's good to go. There's no need to debubble that. That's going to be real hot. Fingertip tight, put this in the canner. All right, the timer went off. I turned off the heat, removed the lid, and let this sit for 5 minutes, and now it's time to take it out. I'm going to put it on this towel covered cutting board here, and it will stay here for 12 to 24 hours. Then I will remove the rings, check the seal, wash them off, label them, and put them in the pantry. These won't last long though, I can tell you that. Here's the water. I'm going to put that by itself, my cutting board. This cutting board's a little bit smaller than the one I usually use, so all 7 won't fit. That's it for that. I just thought I would add this on the end after I've done everything else. I did come back with my stick blender, so I just wanted you to see this before I posted this video. It's not quite done yet, but it smells delicious and tastes delicious too. Thanks for coming along as we ran some errands and went to the orchard, and then the girls and I started the work of processing all of these apples. The apple butter is already smelling amazing, but it's far from done yet. So I'll show a picture or something maybe on the community tab, but you can also follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Brelsford Family Homestead. I hope you like these videos. I know this was a little bit different of one, but just want to share a little glimpse of what our life is like. I hope you're enjoying this journey with us. Until next time, God bless.